are the New York Knicks. I'm back, rocking in New York. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts, it's like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 480, which is also the same amount of times I screamed at my TV this week. Part of the Lineups Podcast Network and Dash Radio. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
Good. Jay, let me ask you. Have you heard about the quantum leap that Google took?
No.
Okay, so Google announced the giant thing in the computing world.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, they have done this. They've made their computers that do this kind of calculation that should take computers 10,000 years to do, and they are now able to do this calculation in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. It's an amazing. If they can use it, they haven't actually used it for any practical purpose yet. But supposedly this will revolutionize. Like it'll be the next chapter in the computing power. So it was a giant step forward. It was pretty interesting. They did try. The one thing the computer has been. You know what they used it for? One thing actually. Once they proved this.
What is that?
They used it to calculate the number of turnovers the Knicks had against the Celtics.
Oh, that's a very large calculation.
Yes, there was no other way to figure it out because it was just such a high number.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you go beyond affinity, you have to find some way to calculate this.
Yeah, I heard the scorekeepers had blisters on their fingers trying to write so fast.
They had, I think it was 25 against the Nets and 26 against the Celtics, or the other way around. Do you know in the last 6 years, last year when they won 17 games, they did not have a single game where they had 25 turnovers?
Well, great.
In the last 6 years, all terrible years. This was Knicks Film School put this on Twitter. In the last 6 years, they have not had. The Knicks have twice in the last 6 whole years have gone over 25 turnovers in a game. They've done it twice in 3 games this season.
That's really good. That is good stuff.
So we're starting out with some not positivity. I'll give you some positive perspective on things though.
Okay.
A couple years back, the Knicks had a pretty good start to the season. They went 2-1. Those two wins included them beating LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers. That was the game that Travis Ware guarded LeBron James. We thought that was going to be a heck of a season. They only won 17 games that season. My point, 3 games does not define the season. That season looked good. It was horrendous. Maybe we'll play a lot better. We got the Bulls tomorrow night. If they beat the Bulls, suddenly we're back on track.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll play along.
You got to go some kind of positivity.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll play along. That's fine.
Knicks played 3 games since we last recorded. They played the Spurs, they played the Nets, and they played the Celtics. And they found 3 different ways to lose. Against the Spurs, they looked like a mess early, came back, fought hard, and had a Knick comeback, which means you come close, but you do not win.
Mm-hmm.
Against the Nets, they went down at some point. They made a comeback. They were in the lead. And they had the game with like 3 minutes ago. It looked like their game. Then they managed to just shit the bed. And then Kyrie Irving hit a dagger to beat them. And then against the Celtics, the Knicks were up early and looked like they came out of the gate swinging. They were playing great. And then sometime in the third quarter, they went to sleep. The Celtics ravaged them. So they found all different ways to lose this past week.
They're keeping it interesting.
Yes. On a different note, though, Jay and I made a burger bet before the season started that I bet that R.J. Barrett would average 20 points a game. I might have been smoking crack, but through 3 games, I am winning that bet.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one good thing about it so far. The draft pick looks like it finally worked out.
He looks like what you're supposed to look like when you're a good young player. We haven't seen that in a while.
He looks better than that. He looks ready. Like he looks like a legit starting player at 19.
He looks like he can walk onto like any roster in the league. He looks like he could start for most teams in the league.
Yeah, exactly. That's more than just being decent.
I mean, he's been great. He's been shooting 50%. 50% from three. He's been averaging, I think, 21 points a game. He just looks. Yeah, last show I went crazy on the Barrett hype. So far, am I justified?
Yeah, so far he's been way better than I thought he would look.
Yeah, why don't you go on? Tell me how good he's been. Good. Go on, Jay. Let's we this is the only positive part of our show, so go.
Okay, so I put him in. If you go to the New York Knicks podcast.com, I do a Knicks roster player rankings, power rankings.
Yeah.
And I had Barrett at 4, and I think it's safe to say I had him ranked too low.
Yeah, he's number 1, right?
Yeah, I think he's probably he's 1 or 2.
Currently playing the best, because basically also, while he's been playing really well, Morris and Randle have been playing not so well.
Yes, I would say I still think those two might be better, but as far as this 3-game sample goes, Barrett, has been the best.
Just going these 3-game samples, yes. I mean, also, Mitchell Robinson's look really good if he can just stay on the goddamn court.
Yeah, well, 6 minutes he's out there before he fouls out, yeah.
Yeah, but those 6 minutes look awesome. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Barrett's averaging 21, 5, and almost 3. And almost 3 steals a game, too.
I mean, those are nipples hard, unbelievable stats to start your career.
Yeah, he hasn't taken a ton of threes, but he's shooting over 50%. Oddly enough, shooting almost 40% for free throws, which is a little weird. I have a question for you.
Wait, what did you say? You were saying oddly enough what?
Oddly enough, he shot. We got disconnected by Skype. Oddly enough, he's shooting almost 40% from the free throw line.
Yeah, his free throws aren't so good, but I'm sure that will get better. I'm sure his 3-point shooting and overall field goal percentage will go down a little bit. But generally, he's looked like. Come on, sing his praises a little more, Jay.
I mean, I can't say enough good things about him. This is probably so far. I mean, it's only 3 games, but it's probably the best a draft pick has worked out for the Knicks since Ewing.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, KP. He had 6 steals against the Nets. I mean, his defense is actually he seems like he knows where to be on defense. I don't necessarily think he'll be the most. He's not going to be a first team all defense, but he looks pretty solid on defense. I think that's one of the things we really were concerned about was his defense.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you worried that he's playing over 36 minutes a game?
So I actually saw someone post this on Twitter. They posted the rookies of the year and their minutes per game, and his minutes are actually within line with other people that have. I mean, obviously, we don't know if he's going to win Rookie of the Year, but basically, other rookies that have played really well in the last 20 years, everyone plays similar minutes.
Okay. I
mean, basically, it comes down to if you deserve to be on the court that much. Basically, you're really good. Basically, he deserves to play 36 minutes a game. If he was a 5th-year player playing like this, no question you play him 36 minutes a game. I mean, it's not like Knox last year where we were just throwing him out there. And he didn't necessarily deserve to be out there for 35 minutes. Barrett deserves that, right?
Yeah. I was just throwing that out there as a question because obviously there's been plenty of players that play way more than that. And it just seems like, I don't know if the game, the way the game is now, it seems like players can't play 40 minutes a game anymore.
I mean, he's 19, so in theory, physically, he should be he didn't. I think last year at Duke he played similar minutes. Obviously, he played a lot less games at Duke than he'll play this season. But I don't know. At 19 years old, I don't worry that much about the minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing. It'd be different if he's a 33-year-old player where you feel like you need to rest him. Can he teach? A question for you. Can he teach the rest of the Knicks how to finish at the rim?
Seriously.
I mean, you watch him finish at the rim, then you watch Knox go to the rim, and you're like, what the hell is Knox even doing? Knox just goes up he's very athletic. He just goes there, just throws it at the rim. Dennis Smith, who we'll get to, just throws it at the rim, throws it at the backboard, hopes something happens. RJ knows what he's doing at all times around the basket. He puts it up, you're like, oh, that's how you get into traffic, and you put the ball up and get it in because he knows what he's doing. So can you say you're happy with number 3 pick? I mean, we'll see what happens from here, But are you very happy with who the Knicks got at the 3 pick?
Absolutely, very, very happy.
Okay. At this point? Are you any of the like I wish we got in Zion instead?
No, I mean, if Zion keeps getting injured, it's going to be either Barrett or Morant for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long way from here. And even if Zion comes back and he's great, at least we found someone that looks like a really good player. So I'm very happy. So
yeah, I mean, this could be a tight 3-way race. I mean,
yeah.
when is the top 3 picks all worked out? Like never?
Yeah. I was thinking of the LeBron draft because like 4 of the 5 guys are Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
Just one of those guys was named Darko.
Yeah.
Like if you're picking, you're like, there's 5 guys I can pick here. 4 of them are in the Hall of Fame. How will Detroit screw this up? So I have a question for you. Trying to stay a little more positive. Knox, his shooting. Okay, going to the basket, he still does not look like he knows how to finish at the rim. But his outside shooting looks a lot better. You'd agree, right?
Yeah, he has shot 7 for 11 for the season.
And his form just looks good. I know, again, his three-point shooting. By the way, the Knicks actually are like one of the leaders in three-point shooting right now. Or they were going into the Celtic game. They were terrible in the Celtic game, so maybe they're more league average. Do you want Knox shooting 7 3-pointers a game?
No.
Why not?
Because he was good for 2 games. I don't think he's going to be able to sustain anything close to that.
Well, I feel like his value will come in his shooting. Like he's very athletic. I think his value. I don't think he's going to become so much of a better finisher at the rim, but his value will come in his 3-point shooting and his ability to get to the line. Because he is very good at going into traffic and getting into the line. And I feel like to make him a worthwhile player out there, you really want him shooting. And I feel like he's someone, just looking at his form, he looks like catch and shoot, or when he's maybe someone even off the dribble, he looks really good from 3. I think he'd be a lot better player if he could shoot 3 for 7 every night. He'd be a much better player. Or 4 for 7 some nights. I want him to shoot a high. If you're going to pick one guy in the team to be our high volume 3-point shooter, I'd want it to be Knox.
Are you assuming Wayne Ellington is not on the team anymore?
No, Wayne Ellington's not part of the future. It's great if he shoots also, but I'm thinking of a guy that we can develop and be part of our future. Knox is the most likely candidate to be the guy that could be our high volume 3-point shooter.
I mean, if you're just going for development, yeah. If you actually want to win some games, Ellington's one of the better 3-point shooters like ever.
Jay, win some games. That's not what we're here for. We don't win games as Knicks. I don't know if we're going to win a game all season, Jay.
Might not.
The Knicks have played competitive. They should win some games soon. This was a tough start. I'm trying to avoid the ledge, Jay.
I'm really thrown off and kind of taken aback by how positive you've been so far.
I'm trying. I'm going to get all the positivity out of the way. So I think Knox can be a good high-volume 3-point shooter. I think that'd be one of the better ways to utilize him is getting him looking. If we actually have a point guard out there, they would look for him and make sure one of the elements of the offense is that you make sure Knox. When I say offense, also I want to kill Fizdale for not putting an offense out there. No offense, Fizdale. I don't actually want to kill you, but anyway, I think Knox shooting a lot of threes would be something very important to strive to move towards, because I do think if he could become a good 3-point shooter, it would help the team a lot.
Who are you?
You think Ellington can't do that much? He could shoot threes, doesn't do that much. He's bounced around the league. I don't think we have a lot in Ellington.
I am so confused with all this positivity.
I mean, Dotson, I actually like his 3-point shooting also. I want him to get more playing time. I'm going to go on more positivity. Let's go to Mitch. So Mitch, obviously, his foul woes have continued, right?
Sure have.
So first of all, I feel like the fouls he is committing, he isn't committing as many as he's getting called for a lot of touch fouls. To be fair, right?
Yeah, but
of course they're fouls. I'm just saying they're less stupid of the stupid fouls.
Yeah, but he keeps getting called for them. So
here's the question to you: should Mitch ever go a whole game without fouling out? Like in the sense of should Fizz always play him till he fouls out?
Yeah.
Like, why would you let him end the game with 5 fouls? Isn't that insane?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that definitely.
Yeah. Fully utilize him. Don't, like, once he gets the 5 fouls, what are you going to, like, you're like, okay, now we have to rest him. We can't bring him back because he has 5. 6 are the number. 6 is the number, Fizz. You have to know that's how many fouls count. It's not 5.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I would like to see him.
Not get 5.
Yeah.
But you know what I'd say? So on a positive note, get him the goddamn ball around the basket. Did you notice in the Celtic game, anytime you got him the ball, a lot of times there were actually a couple of Barrett, RJ had a couple of misses by the basket where Mitch was right there. It's not like Mitch just threw it back up. He got the rebound and just went back up, and he seemed kind of unstoppable going back up.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see a little bit of a post game from Barrett. Just get him the ball and just see what he can do. Like, doesn't necessarily have him like back to the basket stuff. I just want to see get him the ball as much as possible down low. Also, try to have some dunks from him. He should be a greater part of the offense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think he could be a weapon?
He can. I haven't seen much other than dunks and alley-oops. I would like to see some post moves. I don't need to see him shooting threes. I know he was practicing that over the summer. I think we're all agreed that we don't need that.
I felt like anytime he got the at least the Celtic game in particular, I felt like anytime he got the ball near the basket, he went right up. And I mean, it wasn't quite back to the basket type stuff, but like he seemed like he had some moves. And I've seen before, he seems to have some moves around the basket. They aren't like traditional big man moves. But I think, I don't know, you have to find ways to maximize this team. And I think these are 3 ways I have to maximize the team. Barrett, let him be Barrett. Knox, shoot more threes. And Randle, and Mitch, make him a bigger part of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go negative?
No.
You got more positive for me?
Well, no, it's just I saw our emails, so that'll cover the negative portion for us.
So, I mean, do you want to go to do you want to address the point guard fiasco? Like, let's go saying positive. Elfrid Payton has looked a lot better than expected.
I was kind of expecting this.
Okay.
He's playing like he did pretty much last season.
He's a competent NBA like point guard. He's not great, but
he got off to a slow start, but last season New Orleans he was pretty good, and he's playing like he did last year.
So, how do you feel about game 1? Fizz doesn't put a point guard out to start the game, and I guess what he said was the other guys have to earn it.
Right, but you saw what happens when you don't have a point guard out there. Like the Knicks win game 1.
He did it again.
The Knicks win game 1 if they go out there with a point guard to start the game.
Yeah, it was almost like I want to give a lesson to the point guards at the expense of winning a game.
Yeah.
He also, I imagine, thought it would turn out better than it did. Can we put an end to the whole idea of let's run the offense through someone that's not a point guard?
Yeah, I think that should be a rule. Always have a point guard on the floor. Like the other 29 teams in the league. Well, Phoenix doesn't really have a point guard, but
I mean the Lakers could also go without a point guard because they have LeBron, but like generally we don't have a player you could run the offense through. Telling RJ Barrett in the first 3 games of his career we're going to run the offense through you doesn't make sense.
No, it was a weird look.
Julius Randle, I know you've never done this before, and you don't look anywhere competent to do this. But we see you can pass the ball. Let's run the offense through you.
Right.
We got to stop that. So the Knicks. What's the deal with Dennis Smith?
That was my question for you. He looked like he had lost 100% of his confidence. He looks like he shouldn't even be out on the court. He had players consoling him on the bench after he had his 3rd straight just terrible performance. So, is there any hope for him? Like, do you think he gets his confidence back, or what? Does he need to just go to another team? What is going on here?
I know you're not a big football guy or a big Jet fan. Did you hear any about the Jet game against New England on Monday?
No.
So Sam Darnold, the Jets quarterback, and our hope for the Jets' future, was horrendous. There was no line. They were killing him all night, but he was basically just throwing he threw like 4 or 5 interceptions, just kept throwing the ball up. At one point, they had him on mic saying, they were asking what's going on. He basically said, "I'm seeing ghosts out there." He was just like delirious out there. He basically that's pretty much Dennis Smith at all times right now.
Mm-hmm.
He just looks so bad, like he just doesn't know what's going on. What? Do you think it's because he's injured, out of rhythm?
I think he's lost all confidence.
How do you get that back?
You have to have a good performance.
I guess, do you keep playing him, or does he take? I mean, the big question here is, the Knicks, the fans are cheering for Ntilikina. Does Ntilikina get a shot here, or does Dennis Smith keep rolling him out there despite like him playing terrible?
Fizz seems like he wants nothing to do with Smith.
You mean Ntilikina?
Both.
I don't know, because he's playing Smith, so he doesn't. It's not like he doesn't want anything to do with Smith.
He's playing Smith for like 10 minutes a game, basically because he can't play Peyton for 45 minutes.
Yeah, there was one during the Celtic game. I was watching the third quarter. The game was still close, and I kept thinking like the third quarter is getting late in the third quarter. And Dennis Smith looked like a disaster. What the hell is he going to do? And I know Fizz was sitting there going, I wonder if Peyton could just play the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And then Dennis Smith came in, and the wheels came off.
It's really bad. It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
The Knicks need either Frank or Smith to be competent. They don't need to be great, but they need to be a functional NBA guard, and they're not right now.
So I read somewhere, I guess, Perry and Fizz sit down, and they plan like 10-game stretches out. They're like, these are goals for these 10 games, and then they do another 10 games from there. Do you think maybe they've just said, we need to get Dennis Smith right? The only way this team's going to really win is like we need a good Dennis Smith, or else we're like screwed. So let's just give him all the chances he can have for the next 10 games and see how it goes.
Yeah, he might be in the G League if by game 11 he's still done nothing.
Do you think they're screwing Ntilikina here? Would things be different if Ntilikina was playing?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think Ntilikina is that good. I know we're going to get a bunch of angry emails and whatever, but I don't think Ntilikina is that good either.
He hasn't been given much of a chance. He had those 3 minutes against the Spurs where he looked horrendous. But I think, if you want to trust your team, they've seen both guys in practice. They've seen both guys in training camp. Supposedly Dennis Smith had a really good training camp before the wheels came off here. They probably just said everything we see out of Ntilikina, we just cannot see him making the jump. Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can say whatever you want, but they're seeing him in practice every day.
Yeah, they see the same guy who's still very hesitant, who's not really running the offense, and they're just saying like, if we really want to compete, we need guys basically who are going to push the ball at offense and really like, I guess basically help guys that can really like run the offense. And Ntilikina has shown no ability to run the offense.
Yeah,
because Peyton, the offense looks a lot better when he's out there.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's a good defender, but at the guard position, he either needs to run the offense or be able to shoot. And he doesn't seem to be doing either one of those things. And the team is not set up where he can play like a Bruce Bowen role. They don't. The Knicks aren't that good. They need offensive productivity out of the guard position.
Yeah, I saw someone commented that said like, well, like we have 4 of the guys that can score in the court, like the starters. We have Frank out there, that'll be fine. But you look at the starters. The starters can't really score without. They need a point guard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think this Frank not playing thing will be a real issue going forward, or will his minutes just work himself out? Like at some point he'll just get minutes and like this is like a blip on the radar in his playing time. He'll have his chance to prove himself.
He'll have his chance. Smith is gonna get no minutes soon if he keeps this up, and then you're also gonna have probably an injury. If Peyton misses any time, the minutes are there for Frank.
Yeah.
Unless they really want to be insulting and just be like, okay, Kadeem Allen's getting all the minutes now.
I mean, we're not that far away from Kadeem Allen getting some minutes. It's
No, we're not.
nothing's unreasonable about Kadeem Allen getting playing time right now.
No, not at all. The thing I found the weirdest so far about the rotation is no Dodson.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
He started 41 games last season, and he played 2 minutes all season so far.
Yeah, I mean, like he also hasn't looked he didn't look amazing last year, but he looked good enough to get playing time. He's someone that I feel like it's weird that you wouldn't want to. Again, I think his minutes will work itself out. I assume he'll get minutes going forward, right?
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, especially since it looks like the people that are out there are not playing great. Not some of them.
Yeah, basically when everyone sucks, not everyone, but most guys suck. Playing time works out, and guys will get injured also. I mean, Trier looked good against the Nets, but generally Trier hasn't looked very good overall.
Yeah.
So at some point, I mean, the only guy I feel like who's not going to get a lot of minutes and probably will just be more G League is Izzy, whatever. He'll get his minutes from the G League more than anything.
Yeah, we won't be seeing him.
So question for you, a couple more questions. Morris, does he know that league rules don't prevent him from passing the ball once he gets it? He has blinders on half the time.
Yeah.
He looked so good in preseason. What the hell happened?
I feel like he's just trying to go into like alpha dog mode.
I mean, he wasn't. He looked okay. He had a decent game against San Antonio, but like other than that, he hasn't been that good.
Yeah.
I thought he was the best player on our team, and not so much anymore. And there's so many moments where he drives. I'm just like, there's a bunch of guys just staying on the 3-point. Just pass to anyone.
He's really good when he plays within the offense, but when he tries to be the star, that's where it gets a little ugly.
Yeah, when he tries to be full mellow.
Yeah.
Randle. You impressed with Randle so far?
Game 1 I was.
Yeah. It was pretty good in game 1.
He's good, and I think he's gonna be better as the season goes. I just
actually, can we get back to Randle 1 second? Because you have something you want to discuss with Randle. But Bobby Portis, could someone punch him?
Why?
He's terrible. He's terrible. What do you? I do not like seeing Portis out there at all. I'm watching him going like, can't Taj have his minutes?
Yeah, I do have to say I would rather see Taj get Portis' minutes.
I mean, the one strength he had was shooting threes, and he can't do that anymore.
Yeah, Portis seems like he does a bunch of things that every other guy in his position on the team does a little bit better.
And maybe Portis will be better, I guess I assume, but who would you rather have? Portis or Cornette?
Portis.
Is he that much better than Cornette, though?
He's so far no, but
yeah,
he's
so
a little
far
bit
no.
better.
Actually, Cornette's actually a better defender right now. Portis does not guard the rim at all.
He hasn't done much.
I mean, and it sucks that he plays so many minutes because every time Mitch gets the foul, Fizz is like, you have to get the court. You have to get the court. I can't have you on the court with a foul. Oh, my God, you can't have a foul on you. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
The more I have to watch Bobby Portis out there, like, why would you – and I guess, obviously, he's younger than Taj. You want to give him more minutes. But does he deserve – like, who would you rather have out there, Taj Gibson or Morris? Taj Gibson or Portis?
Taj.
Yeah. Okay, Jay. Jay told me during the week that he would rather have Julius Randle than Kristaps Porzingis. And he's going – and we're including in here the current contract, injuries, everything else. He thinks he'd rather have Randle's than KP. Because I said to Jay, hey, imagine how good the Knicks would look right now if they had KP instead of Randle. Like if KP had stayed, you had KP, Barrett. This team would look really good.
Yeah.
So make your horrible argument, Jay.
I just want to say that this argument is going to sound a lot better next week when Randle has a couple good games under his belt than it's going to sound now. But hear me out, okay?
And next week, because in my world, KP gets injured and his career ends next week, so that's also part of it.
Well, it very well could be.
It's part of your argument that Randle has never been accused of rape.
That wasn't on my list, but we can add that.
But go on.
So, okay. So, Randle rebounds way better than Porzingis.
Yes, no question at all.
He is also a much, much better passer.
Yeah,
And a more willing passer.
Willing, definitely. KP's not a willing passer, but go on.
No. Okay, so that's 2 pluses he's got.
Do I get to counter these? Like you would say one, I get to say one back?
Sure, if you want.
Okay. KP got 5 blocks the other night. KP is a rim protector, which is what you're supposed to be as a big man.
Okay. That's 1 plus for Porzingis.
Okay. I mean, my plus might be big. Whatever. I can't even. I don't want to argue for KP, but go on.
Okay, I already gave 2 pluses though.
Okay. And KP is, I mean, similar. I'd say Randle should be a more efficient scorer than KP. Based on last year, he should be a more efficient scorer. Right now, he's not, but he should be. And he should be. They should be similar 3-point shooters.
Randle is better down low. He's got more post moves. He could just bully players under the net.
KP bullies no one.
Right.
Like Marcus Morris used to like make him his bitch. So
yeah, KP has
not
kind
Marcus
of a
Morris.
soft.
I mean, who's the Marcus Smart?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he can create his own offense a little bit better than I think Porzingis can.
Porzingis hasn't recently, with the game on the line, dribbled the ball off his foot.
That is true, although he might not have had to dribble it off his foot had he had a Doncic as a point guard.
Fair, or a coach that ran a play.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you switch Porzingis and Randle right now, I think Randle looks ridiculous under like with playing with Doncic and with a better coach.
Are we going to play the game that anyone would look better playing with Doncic? I bet Barrett would look even better playing with Barrett.
Right, but I'm saying like we're having this debate right now, and Randle is playing, with Elfrid Payton and just nothing at point guard.
I would say the big differences here, more than anything, like the offensive game, I guess it's not that different offensively. The defense makes a huge difference here.
It does.
I mean, it's a big part of the game. That's like the rest of the real difference here. I mean, KP's not the most amazing defender, but he can block shots. He is more of a rim protector, and that's just gigantic.
He is, but Randle's been decent on defense. He hasn't been as bad as his reputation has made him out to be.
It's also in Randle's favor. His contract is much better in the sense of KP's contract is longer for more money for a guy that has just missed the whole season. So injury risk-wise, KP's obviously a greater injury risk, and which is worse with that bigger contract.
KP has had 0 healthy seasons.
0 seasons where he's played 80 games, yeah.
But not even 70.
Oh, you're right. He's always injured at the end of the season, even before last year. You're right.
KP has 0 seasons. Yeah, okay. His rookie season, he played 72.
But he was shut down towards the end of the season.
Yeah, and then 66, then 48, then 0.
Yeah, so but now he's going back up the ladder of games. He's played 3. Yeah, no, your argument is okay. It's not an amazing argument. Whatever.
No, I mean people can disagree, but I'm saying it's not as crazy of a proposal as it may seem.
Yes, I agree. That is a. Do you want to talk about Fizz?
I think our questions will lead us toward Fizz. I think we got a bunch of questions about that.
30 seconds on Fizz, then go to questions. So 30 seconds on Fizz. How long, what happens to happen for him to be fired mid-season?
They have to have a ridiculously bad record.
If they're 3 and 20, he's gone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, 0-3, obviously you don't fire a guy after 3 games.
No, especially since it's 3 playoff teams.
Yeah, I mean, they say so offensively. He likes to have guys be a little more freewheeling, kind of this just freewheeling and react is kind of his offensive system, which means I'm not going to give you any ideas, just do what you want out there. And
right,
but tell you guys to go.
That kind of play works for when you have an experienced backcourt.
Yeah.
When you have a bunch of guys who barely know what they're doing, they need a little bit more guidance than hey, why don't you just do that really good thing that scores points? And they're like, yeah, what is that?
So he coached in Memphis. He wasn't an embarrassment in Memphis. But he also had Conley
He had
running
Conley.
that was a huge difference.
That's what I'm saying. If you swapped a slightly above league average point guard, I mean, Peyton is maybe league average, maybe.
I mean, that might be a stretch, but yeah.
And his backups are just complete trash.
Yeah,
So,
I mean that's been really the difference here. If he had a backup that was on around the same level as Peyton, we win at least 2 of these games.
right. What if instead of Smith and Ntilikina, they had even like Dennis Schroeder?
Yeah, I mean that would make a huge difference. Yes, anyone competent as a backup would be really, really helpful right now.
Yeah, so that's why we need. If Smith or Frank don't snap out of this, then this season's going to be long.
Yeah, really. Well, Frank hasn't had his chance really, so hopefully when he gets his chance, he'll play better.
Right, other than the couple years he's played already.
Yeah, I mean, I bet he hasn't had his chance this season. And
Yeah.
like he played, everyone's going on about how well he played with France. Those were his stat lines from France weren't amazing, but they were better, and he did obviously was helpful in winning. Hopefully he can do. Hopefully Frank can one day be a solid backup point guard. That's where we're going with the show. That's complain. Please complain. Tell us we're idiots. But I hope that's our ceiling for him right now.
Are we even allowed to say anything bad about Frank? Because every time we do, it's like our inbox fills up.
Yeah. But anyway, Fizz. If they had a better coach, and I'm not saying who, but there's like an experienced coach that had a system, they'd look a lot better, right?
I don't know if they look a lot better. I really think the point guard thing is a huge, huge problem.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a problem this season than even in seasons past.
I mean, we've been focused on getting a. Can we just find Jarrett Jack and make him the backup point guard at this point?
Yeah, I know.
They've been focused on getting a point guard for goddamn forever. Can you imagine if we drafted Shea Gilgeous Alexander, who I can't pronounce his name? Look how well he's playing right now.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to go some questions?
Sure. Questions. Jorge writes, as much as I love what I've seen from Zion, I think I might have dodged a bullet. The kid already got surgery for a small tear in his meniscus.
You know what you want to see in a rookie season. The guy that's really heavy already gets surgery on his knee.
Yeah.
He'll probably have to cut like 20 pounds to really like be like an NBA player. 20, 30 pounds?
Can you imagine the meltdown we'd be having if Barrett tore a meniscus and missed the first 2 months of the season?
I mean, you can easily have. I mean, fluke injuries can always happen. It's just like it just seems like he's at greater risk. Someone sent us a video actually of this doctor on YouTube talking about his gait and how he walks and saying they thought Zion in particular was a high risk for injury.
Yeah, Zion has a weird walk.
I always think it's weird though if like a doctor's like gives like a. I'm sure he's a great doctor and all, but I think it's weird when a doctor like diagnoses someone without actually physically meeting that person, just
Right.
watching video of the guy. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, he walks like he has a limp, and that's like his normal walk. Not really a good sign. Anyway, Mr. C writes, hey guys, would you rather give the kids more minutes or the tradable pieces more minutes up to the trade deadline? While being depressing to watch, I'm thinking giving Portis, Morris, Peyton, Gibson, and Ellington minutes would maximize their trade value and be better for our future than leaving them on the bench and keeping them for the whole season.
I'm fine with trading guys at the deadline, but do you really think we're going to get much for any of these guys? Like, even if Morris ends up having a decent season, like a decent season up to the All-Star break, what are we really getting from him? No one's going to give us a first for him.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's all these guys are decent, but none of them are going to really get a first rounder.
They also have like a decent sized salaries. Like Morris is like what $15 million, so you have to take back $15 million or something like that, which is not going to be that easy to like unless you without being a salary dump. It's going to be tough to trade, like even make the money work.
Yeah, but I guess if Ellington really just started going off from the 3-point line, you could find a team that really needs that. Like the Warriors right now would probably love somebody like Ellington.
Yeah, well, the Warriors look bad right now. They'll get better, but I don't know. Ellington's bounced around the league. Do you really think anyone's like clamoring to get Ellington? The league kind of knows what he is already. No one's going to give you a lot for him.
Yeah, I'm just saying if you think that's like the piece. What if the Rockets are like, yeah, if we just had a 3-point shooter, we'd win the championship?
You know who the pieces are? The young guys are the real pieces. That's the only guys that people are really going to give you anything for.
How much are the Knicks young guys other than Barrett going to get?
Well, Mitchell Robinson will get you a lot.
Yeah, probably.
But
I don't think
yeah,
Knox or Smith or Ntilikina are really going to get you much.
But I guess the point of the question really was: do we need to play the tradable assets to build them up? I just find some lineups that work. Play whoever you need to play. Like play the young guys, play the veterans. Find something that works in this team.
Jefferson writes, I hope we do not judge Fizdale cruelly for these past games. He makes very good adjustments. Only problem is starting off strong. Do you think we are only one player away from having a very consistent team? If so, we get there by trading Morris and Portis.
I mean, I don't know if you're gonna get a lot from Morris and Portis, but I mean, Morris has some value, but I don't think Portis has any value. But I mean, we're one player away. If that one player is
A point guard.
a really good point, if it's Damian Lillard, then we're one player away. What do you think? Do you think how close is if this team had a really good point guard? How much better would this team be? Like, if let's say we drafted say Gilgeous Alexander instead of Knox. How much better is this team?
I think they're 2-1.
Okay, well, well, what's our path forward with a point guard? Like, what is the path forward here? How are we going to get a point guard? Like, we have Peyton. You have him probably for next year. Let's say Dennis Smith just doesn't figure shit out, and Frank just continually looks like Frank. What do you do next? What do you do for next season?
Draft.
Yeah, draft a point guard every year until you get one.
Yeah, you're going to have to. Stop. Yeah, at this point, not even best player available. Just keep drafting point guards. It's like,
I mean, the Jets were doing every year drafting a quarterback. Like, at some point, you just need to figure this position out.
yeah.
Do you think that the whole positionless basketball thing is overrated?
A little bit. I mean, I get it for, like 2s through 4s, but 1s and 5s, I don't know, even
I almost say every other position but point guard seems more positionless.
Yeah.
You still need a quarterback on the floor.
You do.
I mean, like, unless you have a really like elite, like when they say like LeBron James, like he pretty much plays point guard at times. You need a guy like another position who really will run the offense at a different position who you're pretending is not a point guard.
Right. Yeah, like Giannis runs the point sometimes. Yeah.
Like what's his name in Denver? The center. Yeah. He basically play. I know he's not a point guard, but he basically plays point guard for them. That's how you run an offense through a guy. You can't pretend to run an offense through a guy. You can't like just go like, oh, this guy can pass. We're gonna run the offense through the guy.
Right. Yeah, there's a difference between ball movement and this guy should be our point guard.
Why the league is flush with point guards? Why can't we get any of them?
This is probably the era with the most good point guards in the history of the NBA, and the Knicks have not gotten one the entire time.
Yeah, all we can find is like, hey, this guy's Orlando doesn't want this guy. We'll take him. That's our best right now. What's your next question?
Nasir writes, I don't want to hear how it's a learning curve. This team sucks. Sucks bad. Fizz has to go now. There is no youth development, and this is not a game. We went to get better players to be competitive. We look like shit. Randle can't hold on to the ball. Where is Portis? What does he do? You guys need to stop playing and talk about this shit. The Knicks are bad, and I see it already. This will be another lottery season. Love RJ, though.
I saw on Twitter, Robin Lumber, who I love, radio host. He was just like, the Knicks suck, and people were arguing with him. He's like, and he kept coming back to like, yeah, the players are just bad. What do you want?
There's some decent, yeah. I mean,
the thing is that I don't think the players are that bad. I think there are a bunch of players on this team that are solid NBA players. It's not like past years where like the roster's bereft of like NBA talent. Randle's a legitimate NBA player. Morris is. Barrett clearly is. There are other players that I'm sure.
There's no point guard, and everybody else is kind of a weird fit.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's a weirdly constructed team, absolutely. But there's more talent on this team. I don't know, like the player development thing. Has Fizz done a good job in player development? Like
No.
you can't give him credit for Barrett.
No, I mean, who's gotten really that much better under him?
Fear looks kind of the same. Mitch looks great, but he doesn't look. He can't stay on the court. He's not like getting that much better under him. Knox is looks slightly better this year. Did you catch on the broadcast? I think it was maybe it was the Celtic game. They were talking about Barrett and like he like playing in Canada, age 15, goes to his parents and goes, "Hey, the guys I'm playing against, they're just not good enough. I need better talent. I need to play against the best competition out there." And so they had basically the family moved him to the United States, found the best best place for him to play. The guy like has a hunger since he was a kid, basically since he was a teenager, to play against the best talent.
Yeah, there's a lot. I heard that story too. There's a lot of players who would be happy just beating up on inferior talent and padding their stats, and he's programmed differently. He wants to be literally the best guy in the NBA. So that's not everybody's like that, and that's great. It's great to have somebody like that on the team.
I need to throw back some positivity in the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Last email. Jorge writes, "Is Fizz a bad coach? Also, how did J.R. Smith get worse?" Well, I guess that relates to the player development part.
You said J.R. Smith?
Oh, Smith Jr.
Smith Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. The Smith thing is I don't know if I can blame Fizz for him being this bad.
God damn it. Sorry.
I don't know. Fizz does not look like a great coach so far. At some point, if you're just not winning and players aren't playing well, just try someone new.
I'm not ready to go that far yet, but yeah.
What's the point of a coach? If coach is to help you win. You're not winning. Let's just fire that guy and give someone else the job.
Well, it's also a crappy team. You can't.
At what point does the coach get does he only get credit if he coaches the Golden State Warriors?
No, but
I'm just saying at some point you have to help the team. Like the coach has to make a difference. If the coach is not making a difference, then just get someone else to coach the team. Someone else can make a difference.
I still think without a point guard, there's only so good a team can be.
I don't know. Fizz has never proven himself to be a good coach yet. There's no evidence that he's a great coach. It's one thing if you have an experienced coach who just wasn't working out here. And we've had that. Obviously, Larry Brown came here a number of years ago, who had a great record as a coach and was horrendous. At least that you could argue maybe was the player. That was a disaster. But
no, that was Larry Brown being terrible.
Yeah, that was Larry Brown being terrible. But at least he had a track record. I guess I don't know what the hell. Okay, there'll be more games. The last question. We're going to go Facebook questions.
Sure.
Bill writes, quick observation. KP had 5 blocks and 24 efficient points last night in the Mavs' second win. I'm seriously thinking about becoming a Mavs fan because of KP. The Knicks cannot be more dumb. Can the Knicks be more dumb, Jay?
I mean, they have been more dumb in the past. They did the Bargnani trade, but they were really kind of like, oh, we're trading Porzingis, but we're going to get Smith back.
I mean, the theory is that they wanted to find someone young to get back, but it wasn't the point of the trade. It was just like...
I get it's not the point of the trade, but so far they got back a player that looks unplayable, and this year's draft pick looks like it's going to be in the mid-20s. So
why? Why mid-20s? What are you talking about?
The Mavs pick.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what they got for the trade.
Yes,
so,
yes.
You're talking about you got you traded the best guy on the team for a guy you can't even put on the court and 2 crappy draft picks.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Okay. Bill also wrote, guys, it looks like the Nets waived Lance Thomas before the start of the season. I know some of the coaches and even fans used to talk about Lance as a leader on the team and great on defense. Question: can the Knicks stop being so bad at evaluating players? I guess getting rid of him, Moutier, Timmy, that white guy played point guard for a game or two, is a great start.
Yeah.
So I guess the point is that we made such a big deal about Lance Thomas being a good player. Even the Nets were like, he's trash.
Yeah, exactly. They needed less than 1 game to evaluate that.
Oh, the white guy was Herzonia. That's what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Hezonja could be our backup point guard.
Yeah, why not?
He should have been. We should have said like he looked legitimately okay as point guard.
What's Alexei Shved up to?
He's somewhere. I think he works for Putin. He's actually involved in helping swing the U.S. election.
All right, well, tell him to take a break and help out the Knicks.
I mean, we should have said Hezonja. This is a weird thing to say, but you want to be our backup point guard next year?
Why not?
Possibly your starting point guard? Whatever. Okay, more Facebook questions. Paul writes, things I like seeing thing I like seeing the most this week from the Knicks, Knox's shooting in the Nets game. What about you guys?
Everything Barrett does.
Besides Barrett, let's just say besides. Let's assume we all agree Barrett's awesome. What else do you like besides Barrett?
That the team looked functional when Peyton was on the court. Peyton has looked like he definitely deserves. I mean, on this team, he deserved to play like 40 minutes, but he definitely earned his spot.
Rob writes, are you guys concerned that this roster is going to take too many inefficient shots? The game against the Spurs, I noticed a lot of mid-range jumpers, and that's a little concerning.
Yeah, I feel like all of this stems from not having a floor general out there.
Yeah. Anton writes, can the Knicks hit free throws? I was at the game and watching them brick free throws was the worst. Also, which Trier is the real one? Wednesday night or Friday night? Does Fizz run any plays, or does he just tell them to give it to Randle and let him figure it out down low and take contested layups?
Probably the latter. And Trier, I think, he's extremely streaky, so a combination of those two games is what Trier is.
Is there anything where you watched like Trier last year and thought, hey, he should be our starting point guard?
No. He's not even close to a point guard. I guess what you said earlier in the show, that was a statement to the other point guards, because Peyton was really bad in preseason, so maybe Fizz was still upset about that.
Yeah, it's just weird that you put so much in the preseason. You know what the weird part of that really was? That he did that, and then later in the game, he brought Trier back out with that lineup of Trier. Like, he did it a second time in the game also.
Right. Also, Peyton came out into the game and did really good and didn't get the start until, what, game 3?
He did it in... No, I thought he started game 2. Or game 2. Was it Dennis Smith in game 2? No, it was Peyton in game 2. Yeah. It's also... the end of the Nets game, there was no point guard on the floor. Like, why does he think it makes sense to have stretches without point guards?
I don't know. I don't get it.
That part also just makes me think, like, maybe Fizz really doesn't know what he's doing. Frank writes, so Ntilikina is trash, huh?
Seems like it. Yeah, I get saying I want to make a statement, but I think the statement should be, right now, Peyton is playing better than you guys. He's getting your minutes. You guys can earn those minutes back if you play better, rather than grumps and nobody's playing point guard.
I also think, like, he could have said Dennis Smith gets the shot tonight, and then Frank gets the shot against the Celtics. Like, he could have just, like, chosen one. They say, I saw a stat, it was also like the defense, and Dennis Smith has been horrible, so we know that. But I guess the defense with him per 100 is like they've given up like 109 points per 100 minutes, and the offense is actually worse with him. They've scored like 75 points a game or something like that.
Yeah, no, he hasn't done one even halfway decent thing so far.
He's been horrible. There was one play, I think it was the Celtics game, where he had a layup. He stopped halfway to the basket, dribbled back, and just bricked a 3.
The crowd, the MSG crowd, was chanting, "We want Frank," for the Celtics game, and it was more of a get off the floor, Smith.
Yeah, of course, that's exactly what it was. Well, Knicks fans, is there any other organization where the fans are so in love with a guy that just hasn't been that good to begin with?
I know. We're so desperate for a draft pick that works out.
We have one currently kind of working out, but people are but they're more in love with him than they are with Knox.
Yeah, because I think people thought Frank had all this potential. Nobody really knew Knox. Well, I guess nobody really knew Frank before he got drafted either. I don't know.
Well, it's also, he has this like legend of like he plays amazing defense. His defense, he's good at times, but he's been overrated at times also on defense. But he has some stretches where he does play really well in defense. But defense is also harder to like. You can't necessarily see it in the stat line, so you can always argue he played really good defense.
Right.
So it's kind of an easier, like you could always, no matter what he did on the floor, you're like, well, he played some amazing defense tonight. Really? And you're like, yeah, he did. You just didn't notice it. You just don't see that in the stats. So you can like make whatever argument you want with him, basically. He's like an ink blot, basically.
Yeah, and I guess Knox is so glaringly bad on defense. It's like almost aggravating.
Yeah, I mean, Knox clearly got a chance last year. So Knox has not lacked the chances. You're not going to call for him. Though so far he's looked better this season.
He has.
And I do think he'll be a serviceable NBA player. It's just a matter of, like, will he be a starter is the issue. Or will he be like a sixth guy off the bench even?
Yeah.
Paul writes, who will have more blocks this year, KP or Robinson?
The guy who can't stay on the court because of foul trouble versus the guy who can't stay on the court for injuries. I'm going to say Robinson, just because I figure KP plays about 50 games this season.
I would agree with you. Bobby writes, Barrett for Rookie of the Year?
It's very, very possible.
By the way, Miami, that guy Kendrick Nunn is now starting for them, and he looks pretty darn good.
I know.
They just found him out of the G League.
My fantasy team is exactly like the Knicks. I don't have a point guard.
Are the Knicks so good? The roster's just so good that Perry can't find some guy from the G League who's going to be pretty good? Oh, the Heat found a guy who's starting now.
Right, and the Hornets, he's not starting, but there's this guy, Graham.
Yeah.
He had his first 2 games ever, he had 6 threes in each game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying Perry they could look in the, there are guys who can be cut in this roster. Like, if you found a guy in the G League, you're like, this guy looks really good, I want to give him a chance, who would you cut?
Put the names in a hat.
Jeffrey writes, over under 3.5. The number of times RJ wins Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month. Also, Kevin Knox, an early candidate for Most Improved Player.
I say over just because the other 2 Rookie of the Year candidates are both in the West.
Yeah, but 3.5 is like getting 4 Rookie of the Month is pretty. Let's temper
Eastern Conference.
I know, I understand that. I totally understand that, but there are probably other good rookies. There are other good rookies in the East. Like, that's a pretty big 4 times a lot.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I hope RJ season's not good. I'm just trying to I'm sure he's going to have some stretches where he doesn't look very good. So, so Knox. So Jeffrey's clearly very excited about how much better Knox has looked.
Mm-hmm.
Is that has he earned that? Not Most Improved Player, but has he really looked that much better to you?
No, I would say settle down. He hit a few threes. He still can't cover anybody.
He looked a little better on defense.
A little. Tiny. Still pretty bad.
I think so far he looks better than last year, which is what you want. I mean, I obviously want a bigger step, but Declan writes, or Declan. I'm sorry, Declan. Declan. How many years do you guys think it'll take before the Knicks make the playoffs again? The team has very few long-term pieces, and there's no guarantee that the young players will take the team to the next level in the foreseeable future.
If the Knicks strike out in free agency in 2 years, it could be another 4 or 5 before they make the playoffs. I'm going to say next year because I can't keep doing the show for a lottery team.
I think, if they talked about, the climate, everyone's worried about climate change. If they told me we really have to start worrying about climate change the next time the Knicks make the playoffs, I'd stop recycling. I don't. Do you think 4 or 5 years from now?
No, next year.
Oh, you think next year they make the playoffs?
I can't. Yeah, like I said, I can't. Next year.
Sure. James writes, can Trier be the closer? Is RJ our best bet at the point? This is probably after the net game. He said this.
I know. I don't want RJ at the point.
I don't want RJ at the point, and I just don't think it's a great idea. He's not a point, so let's not take the best player we've drafted in a while and force him into a different position.
Right, exactly.
Can Trier be the closer? Sometimes.
Yeah, he's the type of guy where if he hits like his first couple shots, keep him in. If not, yank him. He's that hot or cold.
Yeah, he's a guy you want, a guy who can like get you some points like off the bench, and he's the guy to do that. He's totally a worthwhile guy to have on your team, but he's not the close. I don't know. Jay, what did we learn today?
We learned that you took some happy pills before the episode.
I'm trying, Jay. I don't know. This is it's gonna be a long season if we can't be happy.
That is true.
So we got a schedule ahead of us. Let's delve into it.
All
What
right.
do we got this week? We got we got my computer going slow. We got we got Chicago on Monday before the next show, and they'll actually be playing. They're playing Chicago, Orlando, Boston, and they'll play the Sacramento at 6:00. So they'll actually play 4 shows before we record next.
That is
That's a lot of games. 4 games between. So we got Chicago, Orlando, Boston, and Sacramento. Chicago they're looking a little better, but they're not supposed to be a good team. Orlando's all the teams are better than us. What do you think is going to happen?
I would say 1 and 3.
Give me the wins and losses.
You're gonna make me pick a winner, huh?
Yeah. I say we're beating Chicago tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's the best bet.
I say we beat Chicago tomorrow night, or by next show, Fizz is out of a job.
Yeah, if they're 0-7, he might. Yeah.
Holy, yeah. I legitimately think they could beat Chicago and beat Orlando, and then maybe they can go 2-2 in these games.
Actually, Sacramento's been pretty bad so far.
Yeah, they've been bad, and obviously, they're a better team than the Knicks. Play competitive against 3 playoff teams. They can play competitive against all these teams. We're gonna win some games.
2-2.
I think 2-2. I think 2-2 is justifiable over optimism. Maybe they'll be 4-0.
Sacramento is also 0-3, but they've been losing by an average of 23.7 points per game.
That is worse than the Knicks.
That is worse than the Knicks have been losing by an average of 12.
But 3 games it's 3 games are not much. It's not much of a sample size. The Knicks will play better. I think this will be the lowest moment of our season, Jay. Until the next show.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone.